When you talk about the video game industry, two countries usually come to mind, the United States and Japan. And for good reason. They've practically dominated the market since its beginning. However, and this may shock some people, but there are other countries out in the world, and plenty of them make video games, though we don't know much about them. Sure, there are the occasional games like the Witcher series that will pop up, but that's more of an exception than the rule. Most people in the States don't know how the Polish gaming market is doing, or what games the developers in Brazil are making. We only have a vague sense of it. Kinda like your shallow knowledge of what your parents actually did in the 80s. At this point you know drugs were involved, but frankly you don't want to know which ones. Which is why we want to take the time to look at the gaming industry in other parts of the world. For this episode, we want to take a look at the Korean gaming scene. Even though it's probably the third most buzzed about market in gaming, we here in the West really don't have the full picture. For starters, I think everyone pretty much knows how big gaming is in South Korea. This is a country with 3 TV channels dedicated to esports, and about a third of the people there play games. This is literally the gaming capital of the world. To do a deep dive in Korean gaming, we have to talk about the seedy underbelly of gaming, namely game addiction. South Korea has a widespread video game addiction problem. In 2010, it was estimated that 1 in 10 Korean adolescents were at risk to video game addiction, while 1 in 20 people were already addicted. That may not sound like a big deal, but with a national population of 50 million, that's 2 million people addicted to video games, and that's just too many. While it sounds like a joke, it's gotten so out of hand that the government has had to intervene. In 2010, the South Korean government passed the Shutdown Law, which prevented children under 16 from playing video games after midnight. So it's kind of like a Cinderella law, but instead of a ball, it's your guild raid group, and instead of turning into a pumpkin or whatever at midnight, you turn into a fucking criminal. But in 2012, South Korean parents basically asked, hey, can we have control over our shitty kids again? And so the selection system of game available period went into effect. Basically, this law allowed legal guardians to create time slots for their children when they're gaming. When children would play over their time slot, the game would shut off. This law would be applied to over 100 games, but notable games like Diablo 3 weren't affected, since minors aren't allowed to play M-rated games. Because who's ever heard of a 13-year-old playing an M-rated game without their parents' consent? But wait, there's more. In 2013, the South Korean government tried to pass 2 more video game laws because children are the worst. The first of the 2 laws would create an addiction center that would help people with their video game addiction, which would be 100% funded by a 1% tax on game companies. The second law would make video game addiction one of the 4 main categories of addiction in South Korea. The other 3 would be alcohol, tobacco, and gambling. Unsurprisingly, those 2 laws didn't sit well with people or game companies, and they never passed. But there are still addiction centers in South Korea to help those in need. Or try to help those in need. Or maybe they're trying to be supervillains? Back in 2012, CNN did an investigative report on video game addiction in South Korea, where they talked to Dr. Han Dug-wong, a doctor at Changwon University Hospital. Dr. Han talked about an experimental treatment to help people with addiction.
마이크로소프트도 그렇고 이제 게임을 하는 게 막 재밌고 즐겁고 그런 느낌이 이제 같이 동반이 되니까 이제 게임을 이제 하게 되는 거잖아요. 게임 영상을 보여주거든요 나중에. 그러면 환자가 이제 그 게임에 대한 욕구가 이제 막 올라올 거 아니야 치료 환자가. 그러면 그 다음에 바로 이렇게 혐오 자극 자체를 이렇게.
Yeah, see, that's exactly the kind of dystopian Clockwork Orange-esque therapy that would make Ray Bradbury shit himself. Now, while it is a good thing that the government is trying to step in to help its video game junkies, it's not really creating a friendly environment for gamers, or for people in the game industry. As you might have guessed, many folks in the industry weren't keen on the bills South Korea passed and tried to pass. In fact, it's to the point where many game developers are leaving South Korea for friendlier shores. The Korea Economic Research Institute said that South Korea lost half of their video game developers between 2009 and 2014, about 30,000 to 14,000. Which is a problem since video games are one of the biggest exports for South Korea. But regulations around making a game in South Korea are a headache, especially for indie developers. So now you have a better picture of South Korea's gaming scene and the horrible widespread illness it produced. It is the 4th largest market for video games and the biggest audience for esports. But with great highs, it must have low lows. The market could crumble due to strict video game regulations, or the nation could face a public health crisis due to video game addiction. It is unclear what will happen in the upcoming years, but it's good to be informed about the world in between your rounds of incessant gaming or writing that long-form Overwatch fanfic that we both know you're working on. To end on a different note, and to justify the title of this episode, I want to talk briefly about a game from North Korea. Yes, North Korea has games. Not many, mind you, and very little is known about them. Or much of their nation's media, frankly. But in 2012, the world got a chance to see one of their games, Pyongyang Racer. It's a flash game where you take to the streets of Pyongyang and race around tracks. The game serves as almost a tour guide as you ride around real landmarks with real trivia about them written in. Humorously, the streets are completely void of humans, just like the real city. So there you go, you now know enough about the Korean gaming scene to survive a basic human conversation. Thanksgiving is gonna go smooth this year. Take that, Aunt Karen. What do you folks think about the Korean gaming scene? Did we leave anything important out? Did we get something wrong? Let us know in the comments. And once again, we wrap up another episode with one of our favorite what the fuck moments in gaming.